Hi, everybody. Jenny here. So, today my question is, do crystals and mirrors change the energy of a bathroom? And the reason why I chose that is because I was just reading it and it just kind of surprised me, I think. I thought, I never heard of such a thing. I really haven't. And I thought, oh, what did they say? And when I read it, I was kind of surprised because they said, when you open a door and you see to a bathroom, and there's a toilet there, that's bad energy. And I've never heard that before. So to dissipate that bad energy, you're supposed to get a crystal and hang it between the toilet and the door. And that's supposed to cure it. And then all of a sudden the energy is fine. I mean, I thought, okay, who thought of that one? That's pretty creative. So a lot of people say, one, close the lid of your toilet. And so, because otherwise the chi in your wealth will be flushed down the toilet. That's very common. People talk about that a lot. So they say you got to keep the lid down. If you live in a house with boys, like I have 3 boys and a husband and no girls except me, that'll never happen. You will never get the bathrooms and the toilets with the lids down. It just does not happen. So what can I say? So maybe we had bad feng shui. But originally, when I talked to Dr. Zhu about bathrooms, he said, "Well, you have to remember, back in the day, there was an outhouse. There was no bathroom in the house. It was separate from the main house, and there was an outhouse, and that's where you went. That's where you used the bathroom. It wasn't connected. But now we have, plumbing, and so the bathroom is now inside the house. So in the olden days, the bathroom was considered, separate, not in the house, because it was considered, smelly, unclean. And so it has this kind of negative connotation to it. But as plumbing became developed, it's a completely different thing, We don't have those kind of issues. You can keep it clean, it's no problem. So in form school, we don't follow those rules about all the, you cannot have some people say you cannot have a bathroom. I read this by the entrance to your house. You can't be by the front door. It has to be away from the front door. But in reality, if you think about it, many homes, we have a powder room by the front door because that's the most convenient place, for guests to have it by the front door if they come in or if they go out, and it's away from the living spaces, so you do get privacy. So in fact, in a Western home, the bathroom is by the front door. Now, when I lived in Kuwait, the bathroom was by the dining room, and that really surprised me. And I thought, why is it by the dining room? That's where we eat. Don't you want it away? I wanted it by the entrance. And they said, no, because in their culture, before they eat, they wash. They wash their hands. They wash. They're very clean people. They wash everything, and then they go and have their meal. So it's very considerate to have a bathroom near the dining room. So every culture is a little bit different. And so we respect each culture. And so there's no fast rule that says this is wrong. But I don't think that the rule of having a crystal between the entry of your bathroom, so the door to go into the bathroom, and the toilet, putting a crystal in between, hanging from the ceiling, it said, will change the energy. So I don't know about that one. That's just like no. And the other thing was mirrors. They said if you put a mirror on the back side of a bathroom door, so that means when you're going into the door, there's a mirror on the door. No bad energy will go in the door, so all the energy will bounce out. So that's where you put a mirror. Well, I never heard of that one either. So you get all kinds of stuff. You have to ask yourself, is this true to yourself? If you believe it or not. Those are the kind of questions you got to ask. And if you want to practice it or not, that's up to you. But you got to really think it through if it makes sense or not. So I want to answer your questions, but nobody sends me their questions. And this is a live taping. So if you have a question, I don't know, I think you can type it out in Facebook and then I can see it. I've never done this before. So if you do have a question, please feel free and don't be shy and ask anything. So somebody asked about mirrors in the bathroom. Can a toilet face a mirror? And I said, well, a toilet can face a mirror, but it's not the best position for the toilet. But of course, it depends on your floor plan. If that's the only position, if you come in from the side, maybe it's a pocket door, you come in from the side, and then the best position is to have the toilet and then the sink in front, and then the mirrors usually, right behind the sink. So you can wash yourself and groom yourself before you go out. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. But sometimes it may be uncomfortable, if you are sitting on the toilet and you can see yourself. So that's something to think about. You may want to just adjust the height of the mirror, so it's more comfortable and you don't need to see yourself. When you're sitting down, you say, okay, where's the best position of the mirror? And you adjust it so it's very comfortable for you. So those are the kind of things that when you're in the space, you use your senses, you use your feeling, your intuition on how it feels when you're in the space and using the space. And that's when you can make the best decisions, and that's how you should do feng shui. Use your own good intuition. And we all have it. We all have good intuition. It's just that we haven't used it for so long. And then also there's just so much information on the internet that you don't know which is correct and what to follow, because sometimes they contradict each other. But you know best because you know your own house the best. So when you're in your room, how you feel, how it makes you feel, that's important, because feng shui is how the environment affects our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions. And when we're feeling uplifted and happy, we do things, we go out, we're active. But if we're feeling sad and lonely and tired, we don't do anything. So what we try to do is, depending on the function of that room, we make it so it encourages us to take action. For example, in a bedroom, we want to go to sleep. We make it quiet. We don't make it so wild and crazy with bright colors. We make it soft and smooth and, soothing colors. And in your living room, go ahead, make it, fancy and active and sparkly if you want to, but everybody's different. So I'm not going to say, okay, you have to have it sparkly. I had a client who loves sparkly. So everything she wanted was sparkly, sparkly. She had chandeliers and she had crystals and she had, all this kind of stuff. And it suited her personality so well. And it made her happy and made her excited. And that's great. And then I have another client who likes really simple, no flash, just plain, no frills, everything just actually quite subtle, very subtle design. And that was his personality. So it's good to see what you like, what makes you feel good. Just because the book says put crystals here, make it flashy there, doesn't mean you have to do that, because that's not you. Just don't forget that you come first, because it's your home. Okay, that's all. So maybe somebody can shoot me some questions and I'll try to get on live more often. And maybe we'll try to set a consistent time. Oh, there's something. Yay, I got a question from Susan. I've got to get my glasses. The text is really small. Entrance to my house, dining room on the left, and odd room to the right, okay? Nobody uses it. The room on the right. Not good energy in there. What can I do? Very good question. Very, very good question. A lot of times we have rooms that we don't use because there's no function to it. I had a client who had a dining room, and I said, how often? She said, I don't use this room. And I said, well, how often do you use this room? And she says, well, I use it maybe twice a year, when Thanksgiving and Christmas. That was it. I said, oh, what a waste. What a waste. So Susan, what a waste. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. You got to use it. I have another client who says, I never use my dining room, just never. So she changed it, and she made it into this really cute wine room. So we put in these wine coolers, and we put in this countertop. It was really nice. And then we got a little round, like a round table, coffee table, with some really cute swivel chairs and some fancy fluffy cushions. And so she was going to invite her friends over and sit around this table and chit chat and have wine. And so she called it her wine room instead of her dining room. So what do you enjoy doing, Susan? Do you play instruments? Maybe it could be a music room, or I don't know, maybe you want a wine room too. How about a tea room? I have other clients who are very much into tea, and you can make it a tea room. This is where you enjoy your tea. Or it could be just, another client had small children. And, children, they just like to spread out everywhere. They like to leave they're like dogs. They like to leave their scent in a lot of places. Toy here, toy there. And it was driving her crazy because she was trying to keep them in her little family room. And she said she would work on their kitchen table. And then when they were all done and they had to eat a meal, she had to clean the whole kitchen table, put away their crayons, put away their papers, put everything away, and then get dinner on. And then later, they wanted to go back on the table, so she had to clear that and then bring out all the crayons on again. So she was wasting a lot of time. So I said, use your dining room. Just use your dining room. And then you can have all your artwork out there, leave it, have dinner, and then come back, and there you go. You didn't have to put away anything. You saved so much time. So Susan, what can you do? What do you do? Do you have hobbies? Do you have family? I don't know if you have pets. Maybe it's your reading room. That's a nice thing too. Or your exercise room. The other thing I wanted to do was you can put like a curtain. If you want a little bit of privacy, maybe you put a little curtain. Paint. Oh, she said she wants to paint. Yeah, why not? That's great. You can have a little art studio. That sounds good. Yeah. Okay, got to put on my glasses again. Yoga. Oh, a yoga room. When you come in and you maybe have some yoga cushions, and don't make it look like a exercise room when you come in. It could be kind of look semi-meditation kind of room. And so you can have green, a lot of green live plants. You can have some big throws. People can, sit on the floor, maybe read a book. It can be multifunctional. And that's kind of fun too. You can think about, I like to think about like a mesh curtain between maybe that room and your entry. So not everybody has to see it. Maybe you can have two curtains and then, close it and open it and give it a little bit of a mood. And I think that would be really, really fun. Yeah, really fun, especially if you do yoga. And then you can have some music, I don't know. What do you think? Great idea. That's great. So I got to figure out how people can actually talk to me instead of me just talking about myself. Got to figure out a way. There must be a way to do this. Okay. Susan said thank you, and you're most welcome. And thanks for watching. And thank you for your question. That was a great question. Okay, everybody, any more questions? If not, then maybe we'll call it tonight and then we'll come back tomorrow. I wanted to talk about, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? It was mirrors and bathrooms. And people like to talk about, for me, a big thing in, Asian culture is, your entry. So maybe tomorrow we can talk about the entry of a house and how it affects you, because that's one of the most important things in a house. That using space is really a good thing. So Susan, thank you for your question, because in feng shui, we don't like to have dead spaces. Dead spaces means just places we don't use. I had a client, I got to tell you, she lived alone and she lived in a very big house. And so I said, you should try to block off the parts of the house that you don't use, because it kind of drains your energy when you have a very big house and there's not very many people in it. So we added a door so nobody goes down there unless she has people over. And then obviously she opens it up and her, children come to stay. But otherwise the door's closed. So it doesn't feel like the house is hollow and empty, So she can separate rooms. So that's what I say. If you don't use certain parts of your house, it's a good idea to think of ways of how can you close it off instead of it draining your energy constantly. So having a dead space, a space you don't use, is not really recommended. And so that's why if you're not going to use it because it's just too much house, think of ways of blocking off. Or like Susan, think of a different way of using it. We are so set in our ways because that's how we were raised. You got to have a dining room. You've got to have a formal living room. Is it okay to change it? Absolutely. Absolutely, it's okay. That's just how we were raised. So we thought that, we're not supposed to do it. But then you really think about it. And like my client, she says, I only use my dining room twice a year, her formal dining room. I mean, what a waste of space. And so I said, just cover it up, put plastic over your dining table or get a nice, they've got really nice stuff now. You can get like outdoor rugs to put underneath the table that can be washed. You can pressure wash those. And then you can get a nice vinyl tablecloth so you can protect your table, have your kids do whatever they want, don't stress out about it, and use it and save some energy instead of putting things back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, that's all for today. And tomorrow, let's talk about the entrance. And if you have any questions, think about questions, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching. And thanks, Susan, for your question. Bye. There we go.